Today, we are covering 10 bourbons, all under $50, that between them represent everything the American whiskey industry is genuinely capable of, without a lottery, without a markup, and without paying $300 for something that just dropped to $150. Every bottle on this list is on a shelf somewhere near you right now. Let us go through them.
Before the bottles, the context that makes this list genuinely important right now. The American bourbon market dropped 9% in the last year. Weller Full Proof, once the benchmark of the allocated Pappy adjacent category, collapsed from $300 to $150. The American Craft Spirits Association recorded a 26% contraction in active craft distilleries. The bourbon boom is correcting. And what the correction is revealing is something the allocated market spent years obscuring. The best value in American whiskey was never the bottle you could not buy. It was always the bottle on the shelf that nobody was chasing. These 10 bottles are that argument made in liquid form.
Number 10. Buffalo Trace, approximately $25. Buffalo Trace has won 7 Distillery of the Year titles. They are currently spending $1.2 billion expanding their production capacity, and their entry-level expression sits on shelves at $25. The irony of Buffalo Trace is that the distillery that produces some of the most hyped allocated bottles in America, Pappy Van Winkle, Eagle Rare 17, George T. Stagg, also produces a $25 bottle that most of their allocated expressions cannot consistently outperform in blind tastings. Mash Bill 1. Corn, Rye, Malted Barley. The Buffalo Trace House Style. Sweet corn, vanilla, light oak. Done at its most accessible. Not the most complex bottle on this list, the most important. Because it proves that the Buffalo Trace production quality exists at $25, not just at $300.
Number 9. Old Forester 100 Proof, approximately $23. Old Forester is America's oldest continuously produced bourbon brand. Brown-Forman have been making it since 1870 without interruption, including through Prohibition as a medicinal whiskey. The 100 proof expression is where the brand proves its relevance in 2026. At 43%, the Old Forester 86 is too restrained for what the mash bill is capable of. At 100 proof, the spice comes alive. The rye character of the Brown-Forman mash bill develops. The finish extends. $23 for 100 proof bottling from a distillery that has been operating continuously for 155 years. The heritage is genuine. The liquid justifies the claim.
Number 8. 1792 Small Batch, approximately $30. Barton's 1792 Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, is one of the most underrated operations in American whiskey. Sazerac owned, serious production credentials, significantly less marketing budget than their competition. The 1792 Small Batch is a high rye mash bill bourbon, the exact production profile that enthusiasts chase in allocated expressions, at $30 without the allocation. The nose delivers caramel and dried fruit. The palate shows the rye in the grain bill through a baking spice character that more expensive expressions charge significantly more to provide. The finish is medium and warming. 1792 is what happens when a serious distillery focuses production budget on liquid rather than marketing.
Number 7. Old Grandad 114, approximately $30. This bottle needs a specific conversation before the tasting notes. Old Grandad 114 has a 27% rye mash bill. That is the highest rye content of any bottle on this entire list, higher than most expressions costing 3 times as much. There are unconfirmed reports that Beam Suntory has stopped producing Old Grandad 114. If that is true, and Behind the Barrel is continuing to investigate this, it would represent one of the most inexplicable production decisions in recent bourbon history. A 27% rye, high-proof expression at $30 discontinued, while the allocated market chases high rye expressions at multiples of that price. Buy this bottle now. If it disappears, you will understand why when it is gone. In the glass, the rye is immediately present. Bold, spicy, unapologetic. This is not a bourbon trying to be accessible. It is a bourbon trying to be itself. At 114 proof, it demands respect. At $30, it demands a place in your cabinet.
Number 6. Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, $18. Here is the investigation this list exists to tell. Evan Williams Bottled in Bond is produced at the Heaven Hill Bernheim Distillery in Louisville. It shares the exact same mash bill as the Henry McKenna 10-year single barrel, also produced at Heaven Hill Bernheim. The Henry McKenna 10-year won Best in Show Whiskey at the 2019 San Francisco World Spirits Competition, the most prestigious blind judge spirits competition in the world. The Evan Williams Bottled in Bond costs $18. The Henry McKenna costs $35 to $40. Same distillery, same mash bill, different age, different barrel selection, different price. But here is the honest question the investigation forces. If the $18 expression from the same distillery with the same production philosophy is this good, what exactly are you paying the extra $20 for? Bottled in Bond means 100 proof, 4 years minimum age, single distillery, single distilling season, government supervised. The most transparent production standard in American whiskey. $18.
Number 5. Elijah Craig Small Batch, approximately $30. Heaven Hill again. The Elijah Craig Small Batch is the entry point to one of the most respected names in bourbon. The age statement disappeared, then returned. The current expression contains primarily 12-year whiskey, older than most expressions at this price point dared to commit to. The nose is immediately distinctive, rich dark fruit, chocolate, a vanilla depth that takes time and serious oak to develop. Elijah Craig Small Batch smells expensive in a way that $30 bourbons usually do not. The palate delivers the age, medium to full body, caramel, oak, dried fruit, the integration of wood and spirit that longer maturation produces. Elijah Craig Small Batch is the bottle most responsible for the argument that 12 years of honest Kentucky maturation at $30 makes most $50 to $80 expressions look critically overpriced. Number 4. Wild Turkey 101, approximately $30. We have covered Wild Turkey extensively on this channel. Wild Turkey 101 is the most honest bottle in American whiskey. Higher proof than legal minimum, real age, fair price, consistent production philosophy under Eddie and Jimmy Russell across generations. Zero compromises for accessibility or margin. In blind tastings, Wild Turkey 101 beats expressions costing 5 times as much with uncomfortable regularity. The 101 proof delivers the Wild Turkey house style at its fullest expression. Bold corn, aggressive rye spice, genuine oak integration, a finish that extends long past what $30 should produce. The secondary market dropped, well or fell. Wild Turkey 101 sat on the shelf the entire time at $30, waiting for people to notice what was already there.
Number 3. Four Roses Single Barrel, $49. Four Roses operates one of the most complex production systems in bourbon. 10 recipes combining 2 mash bills in 5 proprietary yeast strains, creating 10 distinctly different expressions from the same distillery. The single barrel draws from one of those 10 recipes, the OBSV expression for its standard release. High rye mash bill, floral proprietary yeast, single barrel selection. In 2025, Four Roses expanded the program, adding 3 new recipes at the $49 price point. The result is the most sophisticated production system in the under $50 category, producing expressions with genuine complexity and character that reflects the actual distillation decisions rather than marketing positioning. $49, 10 recipes, 0 allocation required.
Number 2. Maker's Mark Cask Strength, $49.99. In January 2026, Maker's Mark printed 7 years and 2 months on the Cask Strength label for the first time. That age statement makes it the only wheated cask strength age-stated bourbon under $50 in the country. Wheated bourbons replace rye in the grain bill with wheat, producing a softer, sweeter, more approachable spirit. Cask strength means nothing added, bottled directly from the barrel at whatever proof the maturation produced. The combination, wheated mash bill, cask strength, genuine age statement, $49.99 is a production credential list that makes every allocated wheated expression look critically overpriced by comparison. The Pappy-adjacent expressions that collapsed on the secondary market are wheated bourbons. Maker's Mark Cask Strength is a wheated bourbon. At $49 versus $300, the question of what you are actually paying for in the allocated market has never been more pointed.
Number 1. Knob Creek 9-Year, $35 to $40. The highest whiskey advocate score on this entire countdown, 92 points. The age statement disappeared in 2016. The bourbon community treated the absence like a loss. The age statement returned in 2020. It has been back ever since. 9 years, 100 proof, printed age statement, $35 to $40. Knob Creek 9-Year represents everything the bourbon industry is capable of when production decisions prioritize what is in the glass over what the secondary market will absorb. The nose is one of the richest at any price point. Caramel so deep it approaches butterscotch, dark fruit, toasted oak, a complexity that takes 9 years of serious Kentucky maturation to develop. The palate delivers every promise the nose made. Full body, layered, the integration of sweet corn and oak that extended maturation in genuine Kentucky climate produces. The finish is long, very long. At 100 proof, it carries far enough that you are still tasting it when most $30 bourbons have already departed. 92 points from Whiskey Advocate, $35 to $40 on a regular shelf. No lottery, no allocation, no secondary premium. Just bourbon made properly, priced honestly, and available to anyone who walks into a liquor store with $40.
10 bottles, under $50 each, under $350 for all 10 combined. That is less than one bottle of Pappy Van Winkle 15-year at current secondary pricing. And these 10 bottles represent the complete argument against everything the allocated bourbon market has been charging you for. The secondary market dropped 9%. Weller fell from $300 to $150. Craft distilleries contracted 26%. The correction is not a crisis. It is a clarification. The best bourbon was never the one you could not buy. It was always on the shelf. These 10 bottles prove it.
Which of these 10 is already in your cabinet? And which allocated expression do you think genuinely earns its premium over what is sitting on the regular shelf right now? Drop it in the comments. This community's honest assessment of bourbon value is exactly what the hype machine does not want concentrated in one place. Subscribe to Behind the Barrel for honest, unsponsored investigations into what is actually in your glass every single week. Drink less, drink better, and always check what is behind the barrel.